What's up, Micah?
How are you, man?
Good, man. Excited for a Goofy movie.
Absolutely. Now, I had
Absolutely.
actually never seen this film in its entirety until watching it
Really?
for this discussion.
Well,
Yeah.
you must not be a total 90s millennial, you Gen Xer.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm unfortunately not.
Welcome, everyone. We're the Story Dads. We're jumping into Goofy movie today. And yeah, I think this one's fun because it is a dad movie. It is a father-son movie. We're the Story Dads talking about dad stuff on this one. Also, the last podcast we recorded, which maybe you've listened to it, they'll come up before this. I remember we kind of landed on we were going through the Toy Story series, and it's like, get away from nostalgia. You need to grow up, all the adults in that, right? And so now I picked the most nostalgic 90s movie I could possibly think of to follow up on that. So that's today with Goofy movie.
It apparently didn't do well in the box office, but it did super well in the home box office, which
Yeah.
for everyone who remembers, like there used to be this like vacuum between things coming out in theaters, and then you'd have to wait and wait and wait and wait,
Yeah.
and then it would
Yeah,
come
yeah.
out at home and you could watch it, and you had to purchase a copy,
The VHS tape or
own it.
get it a
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
Yeah. And then and so you could really easily chart sales, and those sales were public, unlike streaming records, which are totally like, who knows what's actually popular or not. But so it did super well, which in a weird way makes sense, because if you're looking at like families and stuff, I'm like, hey, can we go out to see a movie? Let's go see a Goofy movie.
Yeah.
Your parents are like,
right. Yeah.
We'll wait.
And it was, I think it was before they were doing like, hey, let's throw some stuff specifically in there for the parents. They kind of had some of that in there, but it's very much like teen, preteen, like 7-year-old. Like that's it kind of felt like they're getting beyond just like little kid stuff. And now we're going for like cool kids where
right.
Max is a high school student, middle school. It's kind of ambiguous in it. And it, as I remember it, I think it was Disney first going for that age range aesthetic.
Yeah, now that's interesting that earlier you called out the millennial thing, because the population of millennials is super high, right? And so the emergence of youth-oriented media, I think, began with boomers, because there was suddenly this huge swath of the American population with disposable income.
Yeah.
And they weren't being targeted for marketing and with media, and so it's part of the.
Are you talking like rock and roll in the 70s?
Yeah, rock and roll.
The 70s, 80s.
Yeah. And, the 60s and 70s, and radio stations, and even the car, like the Mustang was invented for teenage girls, because suddenly like there was a swath of young women and no one had made a car for them.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
my mom loves Mustangs.
There you go.
She does to this day. She's like, it's her favorite car. She bought an old one and she loves it. And I was like,
also Mustangs are awesome. Like
the marketing worked, apparently.
It worked. It's still working.
Still working.
And so I wonder if it's a coincidence that Disney should be emerging like right as there's suddenly this like, there's this new swath of mid-teen, early teen. There's more of them than there's ever been, and like let's just like pitch a movie at them.
And I remember like growing up, Goofy movie, it felt like it kind of led into this pop music for preteens, your Britney Spears and your Backstreet Boys and all that coming out. Like I remember that becoming a thing shortly after, around 95 when this movie came out. And then all the movies that would come out, the high school rom-coms became like a huge thing just in this generation. For some reason, like Goofy movie feels like the start of all these like pop things coming out, like in that line of thinking. Maybe that's totally silly and people are going to totally disagree with me, but I see it.
But that was your perception being a part of it.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, like age differences make so much more difference when you're younger. I'm sure it's a proportionality thing. Yeah. But like than they do when you're older. But I remember like my friends and I referring to this flood of media as like teeny bopper,
Yeah,
which I think is a reference back to like the 50s and 60s or whatever, is like the teeny boppers. And so we were into like grunge and metal and like and bleak dark stories and stuff, and like ennui and Weltschmerz, and like all these happy, like go lucky teeny boppers. We were very critical of them, probably because we were envious that no one was making anything for us. We were considered just like non-existent, but
lost generation.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just envy ultimately. But okay, so Goofy movie. And so how is it like emblematic of like that move, that wave?
Okay, so I mean, it's the relationship with Max and his dad. Come on, Dad. Like, I don't want to go do your boomer stuff. I'm into the rock and roll music and have a girlfriend and the high school aesthetic, and I just want to hang out with my friends. Like, that whole thing felt like it kind of started there. The pop music, the Powerline character who is Michael Jackson and Prince and all those guys, wrapped up into one. I still know a ton of friends who like love the Eye to Eye song, and it's still like the anthem of our generation. People talk about it as that. And it's got some cool tunes. So I know all that feels very because Max's character is very much into the pop culture of his day, which is what the whole thing is kind of set around. And so
the importance of that over the importance of maybe more like timeless things is so
which is a common thing for teens and preteens, right? So that's what kind of fits it in that place.
Yeah. And then, it opens with like the ways that this is really universal is like it opens with that American Werewolf in London transformation where he's trying to be like his impression of what's suave and debonair and cool, and then he like mutates into this horrific monster, and that horrific monster is his father.
Is his father, right? Which he'll inevitably come into,
Yeah, and all of us have that fear. Like I remember first starting to get like hair in my arms and stuff like that, and going like, oh, I'm becoming a man, and like they're big and smelly and gross. I was a kid, and being a kid was like it was great, And then now imagine your dad is Goofy. Like that's rough.
But even connecting it to like male adolescence and going through puberty, the whole thing starts off with the love he's got for Roxanne, and there's this girl I'm falling in love with, and I'm this gross person now, and all my insecurities and inadequacies as a teenage boy. I mean, I think that's obviously relatable in a lot of ways, and I do think it is timeless. I mean, I think I think this movie ultimately is the tension from father son from one generation to the next, and needing each other but also resenting each other, and the tension that piece is already held, and it takes place at a specific place and time, but there's all the underlying stuff underneath that too.
And we don't know why Goofy is a single dad, but he is. And so there's this.
Well, okay, there's another thing on that, because another reason, like, this is a pure father-son movie, there's no moms in the movie.
Right.
There might be one scene where, like, someone's in the background, but, like, Pete and PJ and Goofy and his dad, and even Roxanne, when she enters the door, her dad is the one who answers like her mom's not, like there's no moms in this. And I don't know if it means because moms don't exist or it's just not part of the story, or I mean, she's noticeably absent with Max and Goofy because they're the only ones in the house. It's not even mentioned. So I don't know.
There's the thing that movies used to be really good at, which was just eliminating things that you didn't need for the sake of the story. And then at some point, I think what is really kind of a pedantic point of view is emerged. We're like, well, we have to have X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And the truth about a story is that you don't have to have anything that doesn't serve the story. But there's, starting in the 90s, oddly, this leaking in perception of like, well, this movie doesn't have enough female characters. You have to add female characters.
Right.
And the answer is like, well, no, we really don't. This is a father-son story. And so that's what it's going to be about. And so if female characters come into that and as to where they serve this story,
Right.
then they'll be included. But
Yeah,
if
I
they
can't,
don't, they
because
won't.
to me, if there's a line that like, yeah, kid, I know it hasn't been the same since your mom ran off type thing or whatever, I
It
don't know,
changes it.
it's a different story, and it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
what it's trying to tell, which is about Max trying to get along with his dad. And
Right.
that could be a really interesting story. That's not
Yes,
what this one is.
exactly. It could
Yeah.
be a really interesting story. It's not what this one is. There is nothing in this movie that doesn't need to be there to serve exactly this relationship, which
Yeah.
is how do you reconcile father and son?
Mm-hmm.
Totally timeless. There is
Yeah.
no cinema time period you could go through where there somewhere is not a movie like this,
Yeah.
structured like this, where
Yeah.
it's a father and a son stuck together and they have to learn to understand one
Right.
another.
Right. And
Yeah.
it could be in this one. It's what Goofy seems to be playing the role of the boomer. He likes the mambo music. He wants to go fishing like he did with his dad. And Max wants to listen to Michael Jackson and hang out with his friends and eat pizza and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it could be the same thing. Just replace the generations. So now, as I'm watching this, like
Right.
I'm in the Goofy role, and I'm a millennial, and my kids are relating to Max and seeing it through their lens. I see all the memes that come up from this movie where it's like me as a kid, come on, like Goofy, he wants to go to the concert. It means so much to him. Like, let him go. And now it's like, geez, Max, like your dad's trying, give him a break. And so there is this like, who do you relate to? But like,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately the story is like they need to. I have a whole take on the eye to eye song at the end, but ultimately the message of that is like we need to learn to listen to each other. We need to learn to. The older generation needs to understand that things are progressing forward and be able to listen to the new things that are coming up and the way the world's changing, and the newer generation needs to recognize there's some wisdom from the past in some places that there's some foundational stuff that you need to be aware of and have an open mind to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my take on the arc and the theme of Goofy movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you like, so you loved it growing up, and how?
So yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't up there for me as one of like the big classics. I mean, I think I resonate now more with it as a dad.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. And so that was my question is like, how has that resonance changed? Like, does it make you a better dad? Do you still sympathize with Max? Like, what are the, like, how is it
Yeah.
matured?
I think as a dad, you see like the deeper layer of it now, where it's like you watch this as a kid, it's like it feels like Max's story, and
Yeah.
he is in a budding relationship with the girl who he's had a crush on forever, and now and he's figuring out how he's going to make that work, but his dad's holding him back, and he's trying to figure out how to reconcile all that, right? And that is a story,
Yeah.
but then like you miss the whole other half of it, which is about Goofy trying to connect with his son and then recognizing the things he has to offer him, ultimately help him connect with his girlfriend in the way he wants to. And it all comes through a bunch of happy accidents along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a level of depth as an adult. I mean, it's just true of really any movie that, you can analyze with. But I think in a following it through specific characters' lenses, I think that's another piece of it. But I definitely still sympathize with Max, and I think like the ways you feel held back by your parents, but also like I think older generations, and I think me as a dad to be mindful not to dismiss your kids' concerns of friendships and petty teenage stuff as trivial, because it's not. It's a big deal for them and their lives. And I mean, getting on the psychological side, like developmentally, like that stuff is important. It matters. And it's easy to be like, all right, stupid argument with your friends. You'll get older and get over that. All right, it didn't work out with a girl. You didn't get to go to the concert. You didn't get to go to the party. Like, get over it, kid. Like, it gives a good example of Max, like, this is the most important thing in my life right now. What do you mean we have to go fishing? Like, so it's, yeah, I mean, I still think that piece really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I oddly never went through a phase as a teenager where I was embarrassed of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't ever happen that way. And like I had never was like, oh, I don't want to be seen being dropped off, or like I don't want to, like, pick me up around the corner, or like, oh my gosh, Dad, you're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
Right.
I never went through that. I don't know why. I don't know what the nature of our relationship was, or if it's like temperamental with me or something.
I do wonder if movies like this kind of contributed to that. Like, you kind of
Like,
see that as the archetype of like, oh gosh, I got to be like annoyed about. Because I remember like middle school, it was like I didn't want my mom to like walk me into school or anything like that. Which on one level I think is normal, but I think when like stuff like this is in the zeitgeist of like your parents got or whatever, and like there's
Yeah.
examples of like, oh, look at this stupid kid and his idiot dad.
Yeah.
You I don't know, when that's in the zeitgeist, I think it amplifies it.
Yeah, I don't it's not like I wasn't aware that other kids were, like I saw it around me. I knew it was something like at some point I'm supposed to get embarrassed of them or something, and I just never did. And I don't know if there was a level of autonomy that they gave me that we didn't run into that problem.
Yeah.
Like if I'd walk in to school with my mom, I'd be like, yeah, my mom's with me. Like,
yeah.
I don't need her here. She wants to come in, or like we're coming to a meeting. Like, so that's stupid. Why would you think that I'm lame? Like, what? You don't have a mom? Like
Well, you sound able like to out just like stupid insecure stuff from other people. Yeah. Everyone's kind of mom like, you were doing this yesterday. What are you talking about? Like,
and I also
the ability for that stuff to bounce off you, because it's easy to see that as an adult, but like in the moment, like I wouldn't say that would be common.
Yeah, no, I think I was wired a little strangely, but I do remember like that thing of like mutating into your dad. I do remember experiencing that with this like sense of horror of like the inevitability or the terror of, oh my God, I'm becoming my father.
Yeah.
Which is another universal thing. It pops up.
Totally.
Women going like looking in the mirror going, oh my God, I'm becoming, I look just like my mom, And the answer is yes.
That happens.
And it is inevitable. And then, but it's not what's an interesting thing in this movie is that it's not a curse. No, even if your dad is Goofy, who you would think is the worst of all the Disney characters that you could like mature into.
Yeah.
The girl that likes him adores the Goofy laugh.
Yeah, well, and it's a cool arc, because at the beginning of the movie it starts with this horror werewolf scene where I'm becoming this guy and I'm terrified and she's scared of me, which is his biggest nightmare. And then at the end it's like he accepts that and it's like this is good. She adores that and he embraces that, and the silly perfect cast thing becomes the dance that impresses everyone at the concert. Like it's him coming to terms with and accepting that, and all the fruits that ultimately come with it.
Yeah, and so all of his attempts to be someone that he's not,
which is what you do in adolescence. It's I am putting on the glasses and trying to be the pop star and trying to show off as the cool guy role. And if adolescence is about ultimately maturing into adulthood, then accepting that that's what you'll be doing is what Max's journey is.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting that like all of the things that hamstring him through his journey are his decisions. Which again is screenwriting 101 that era was particularly good at doing, which was your character's decisions are what forward the plot, not just like a series of happenstances or like the machinations of the oppressor, that like are just trying to ruin them. And then
I'll go for it.
Well, like, so he lies.
Yeah.
He cheats.
Yep.
He evades.
Yep.
He steals. So it's like all of the things, and it turns out he doesn't need to have done any of it. Like, he didn't need to do this horrible, stunt at the assembly to get the girl's attention, because he already had it. Like, she was already paying attention. She already liked him.
Yeah.
And he didn't need to tell her, like, when he just goes like, oh, I'm going to the Powerline concert.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you even do that?
I was gonna jump in, because that was such a common like plot device for teen movies in that era, where it's like, I get embarrassed and I say some stupid lie and now I'm on the hook and I got to resolve that over the next hour. And and then it ends with like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lied. I just like, because I like you. Right. But like that's a true to life thing for teenagers. So like, I don't hate it.
Yeah. And really for all of us, like people. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost all of the best trouble that any of us have ever been in is it's all our own making.
Yeah.
For the most part. So, yeah, I mean, is there,
Well,
there's that whole.
what was your take on it, having not seen it in its entirety? Was it likable? Was it enjoyable watching it now?
Yeah, it was cute, and I grew up when on the Disney Channel back when that existed, and so they used to run the majority of the day was like running classic Disney cartoon shorts that used to be in movie theaters, and so I grew up on like all of the Disney short canon, because at the time the only kids cartoons were all from like the 50s and 60s from the movies, and they hadn't, like, Gummy Bears was still new, like there wasn't like a slew of programs.
Those were the Disney like cartoon series that they were running.
What do you mean?
Like Gummy Bears?
Yeah. So like those series would come on, but they were new, and so they came on once.
I see. So they didn't have a ton of airtime, so they would fill it with
there wasn't a slew of children's programming running. It was all classic Disney, and so watching a Goofy movie in that era, like when the Goofy movie came out, there still wasn't this slew of children's programming that was all new all the time to just fill the airwaves. And so there's a lot of really fun nods and Easter eggs to classic Goofy cartoons nestled into a Goofy movie without just making it like a sort of obnoxious homage fest.
Totally.
Like, Pete showing up with like the super cushy RV setup, because Goofy always has sort of like the working man's,
simple
cobbled together
guy,
version of something. He's always like got a workaround, and he's always got the poor man's version, and he's always like trying to learn sports and injuring himself horrifically, and like so the fact that he like actually knows how to do the perfect cast, and it's this convoluted horrible thing is awesome. And it was fine. I thought it was interesting that like he was such a wimpy dad. Like he was such
Goofy.
I was like, he's such a crybaby pushover, man. Like you just let Max walk all over you, dude. And it's funny, like the one time that Pete was like,
you gotta get tough
firm with him.
And
it worked. And I was like, there you go, Goofy, for crying out loud. Like lay down the law once in a while.
Nice.
But it was good. Look, I'm not gonna be rushing to like put it on all the time.
No, and I think that's the nostalgia factor that comes in, because like I know a ton of people. It's like, this is one of my favorite Disney movies, and it's like it's kind of like forgotten amidst like the classics, but it's like for people that like, again, it's an of its time movie, but it's got these kind of timeless themes on the father son piece too.
Well, and what's funny is it's like of its time again in a weird way, because like for one thing, music has not advanced since then. Like it's so weird that like we've gone through periods where music got awesome and changed radically in a short period of time, like the 60s, and then again like in the 90s when grunge music like changed everything,
right?
And it's like pop music now is pop music from the 90s, and like so much so that it's like in all the movie soundtracks, and and then the style. This kid got on the bus in front of my yard this morning, and he just straight up was wearing Max's outfit. Other than the weird like short sleeve hoodie, like that was never, those never existed.
The big like all one lens glasses thing that Powerline wears. That was a moment.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are back. Like kids are wearing that at church. This kid's basically got like Chimco jeans that got on the bus this morning. His silhouette is pyramidal, and so like the Goofy movie is oddly, it's like fine again. It's totally timely again.
Yeah. And I think the piece we talked about how Max goes from resisting becoming his parent to ultimately embracing that, and that's the thing that like becomes endearing towards Roxanne at the end, and then the recognition that the two generations, whatever it is, this one it's boomer, millennial, or the next generation or whatever, like you guys need each other. The song that it culminates in at the end, Eye to Eye, and this is maybe I'm just speaking to millennial nerds here, like again, I've heard people say like pop song of the generation. It's great. There's some internet videos on it. Like people get into it, right? And I hear people talk about it from the lens of like, we need this song now because politically no one can get along and we just got to learn to see each other eye to eye. I'm like, no, that song is about generationally, you need to respect the people that came before you and they need to learn to see you where you're at. And that's where it all comes together. To me, it's the song. That song is more about the cross generations connecting rather than it is like people of different backgrounds or ideologies or whatever.
Yeah. Why is it explicitly the one, not the other?
That's the context of what happens in the movie.
Sure. Okay.
It's in the movie is father son and generations learning to get along, right? And I think that expands out to that piece as well. But that's the foundational side.
Principally,
so,
yeah.
So that's my
and the thing about
take
eye
on the
to
pop song
eye is that there's the reason one might not see eye to eye is because of a height difference. Some on some level, eye to eye is like, well, you're growing, and I'm and like we need to like get level so that we can see eye to eye. Excuse my cough. Yeah, I think what's like maybe the only thing that truly dates it is Pauly Shore.
Oh, this is gonna be so
great, man.
And no shade against Pauly Shore. He can't help that he was absolutely like the man of the moment in the zeitgeist. But like you remember, just talking in a Pauly Shore voice was awesome back then. Like,
wait, which guy's Pauly Shore?
Pauly Shore's the dude in the AV club that's got like the Beavis and Butthead haircut, and he like wants the cheese whiz. Like, there was something about sprayable cheese back then, like that was really a big deal. And like, but yeah, like, ooh, buddy, like all that was.
Bud, you're like kind of stoner dude guy,
yeah, and that just
busted,
automatically,
yes,
and like it's God bless him for being the man of the hour, but it's like doesn't make sense. It's not funny. It's not relatable.
No.
If a kid's watching it now, they just be like, "Why are they talking like that?"
It's just like that is a character, right? That guy is. He's into cheese whiz. He's got his Pauly Shore accent. Yes, okay, totally. Also the cameo, the principal is, I forget the guy's name, but it's
Wallace Shawn.
From Inconceivable from Princess Bride.
Yeah. So I looked up trivia on this, and it turns out that the impetus for this plot was Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the head of Disney Studios at the time.
Okay.
He would later go on to become the K in SKG DreamWorks.
Yeah.
When they split off just a few years after this movie comes out.
Okay.
He was having a rift with his teenage daughter, and they did a road trip together in order to like reacquaint and get to know each other. And so, based on his like real life true story,
that's fun.
And it is cool, and it is worth mentioning that like there are these phenomenal geniuses like Katzenberg, that are scattered throughout animation history. That man, their reach so far extends their grasp that. Just from, my wife works at DreamWorks. Occasionally they get these addresses from Katzenberg, even though I don't think maybe he's on the board or something now, but he doesn't hold like a executive position there anymore. But he'll come and do addresses and stuff. And it's like she'll share with me what's said or how it goes. And it's always just the most beautiful, brilliant, like inspiring. Humanitarian, universal experience, dedication to the craft. And so it doesn't surprise me that I can imagine that he's like, I had this experience and it would make a great cartoon, and then it does.
And it turns out if you have a rift with your kid, spending some time with them and really getting to know them kind of works. Yeah, like you have a conflict, it forces you to hash out your issues.
Yeah, trap yourself in the metal box.
Yeah.
Accelerate the metal box down the highway at incredibly high speeds, and then work out your differences.
Which is a very father thing to do. It's not we're going to sit on the couch and talk it out. It's like we're going to go do something, and along the way, no, that wouldn't work with Max here. But it's also Goofy has to learn along the way to actually, how do I engage with this kid, because he seems so foreign and so distant, and so again, timeless story with one generation.
He has to be something more than a buddy.
Yep.
Because he does really he is a little soft ass.
Yeah.
And so like he does need to kind of step up and be more than just buddy. He does need to be a dad. but in being a dad, he also needs to like, how do I advocate? How is that? What is that
Well,
two-way street? Like,
how do I figure out what my kids' needs are, and how do I, as their father, connect to them in those needs?
So the next project that you'll initiate as a therapist is everything I needed to learn to know about fatherhood. I learned from a Goofy movie.
Yeah. Well, sure. I'm gonna set up a whole intensive program for fathers and sons where they just go on road trips with each other, and here's your 5 points you work out while you're on the road,
right?
While you're on your cross country road trip.
Yeah, and then like the kid gets to navigate.
Yeah, kid gets to navigate, and then he tells you to go left and go right, and you end up in Los Angeles rather than Idaho.
Yeah,
which whatever works.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he gets the plot done. You don't question it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a fun one. Again, one of the more simple movies we've done, but I have a feeling like when this podcast comes out, people that like maybe of my generation of that time will really connect to it, and some people are going to be more like, oh yeah, okay, I kind of remember that movie. Interesting one to pick, but yeah.
Well, we have quite a canon to get through. So what's our next one?
Father's Night Out, Dad's Night Out. We're doing a grown-up one next time. We were talking about Aliens.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, the second one, which is, if this is a father-son movie, that is a maternal movie. That is about motherhood.
Yes.
So that's the through line from Goofy movie to Aliens. Stay tuned.
Yeah, maybe it'll come out on Mother's Day. Wouldn't that be great?
There you go. So yeah, and then I got some ideas for what we come back to after that one, but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, great. If you've been hanging with us this far, hit the buttons, do the thing.
Yep.
Like us,
comment, subscribe. And seriously, like we say it, like if you have a different take on this, like part of the fun for us in doing this is like we love to hear different takes on these movies. I've gotten, as we've started to roll some of these out, I've gotten some like texts from friends that have listened to it, and we've engaged in dialogue about Wreck-It Ralph or Frozen or whatever as those are coming out. Like those are a ton of fun for us. So like if you're listening to this, if you know us or don't know who we are, like we love to engage in this stuff. So like don't be shy on that stuff. I hope to hear from you.
Yeah, and by no means like I'll act like I'm correct about a take on something, but really like we're laymen, we're doing it, we're digging through it, and also the nature of story is that it is rich and deep and nuanced. And
that's why it's fun.
Yes. All right. Well, good to see you.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time for Aliens.
Can't wait.
Peace.